My name is Brideen O'Donnell Finegan. I live in Schoharie, New York. That's where I grew up, and I have gone back there now as a retiree. My grandparents, Peter J. Madden and Mary Ann Smith, were immigrants from Ireland, County Galway. They did not know one another when they emigrated. We know that my grandfather, Peter J. Madden, emigrated in 1909. We have the papers for that. I think my grandmother, Mary Ann Smith, emigrated in 1910. Peter J. Madden was the youngest of 10 children. His father was Thomas Madden, and his mother was Mary Mahon. And I'm just reading about Stokestown in Ireland and realizing it was the Mahon family that owned that, so I'm wondering if there is a connection there. Both of these great-grandparents would have been born around, well, they would have been children at the time of the famine. I know Thomas Madden was born in 1834, so I'm very curious to find out how his family survived this. Of the 10 Madden children, half of them, I believe it's just half, came to the U.S. And my grandfather, Peter J. Madden, he went to school in Galway to become a skilled carpenter and cabinet maker. So he had a skill, a marketable skill, when he came to New York, and he had various jobs and worked for the City Museum of New York for a while. My grandmother, Mary Ann Smith, also went to school in Galway, and she was in school to be a teacher. But she changed her mind and became a stenographer and learned shorthand. So she too had a skill when she came to New York and worked for various law firms. Wing and Russell is one that I can remember. She communicated with her family back home, who remained on the farm, and I guess it was the custom for a lot of people to keep those letters, so I have learned a lot by reading these letters. And the people in Ireland were poor, and the ones who came to the U.S. sent money back to help them. Mary Ann Smith was one of 9 or 10 children, I'm not positive, and she was one of the older ones. Her parents were Margaret Turley and Michael Smith, and they too would have been born around the 1840s and survived the famine. In Mary Ann Smith's family, it was the same. Half of the family emigrated to the U.S. And Mary Ann was born in 1881. We found out that she fudged her birth certificate, or her birth date, and her birth year. Her birth date actually is October 31st, and I guess she didn't like being born on Halloween, so she changed it to November 1st. She also indicated, and she's in the census for having been born in 1888, which takes 7 years off her life. It makes her 7 years younger, which made her younger than her husband. They got married they met in New York, and we have lots of photographs of them when they were dating and going on outings and picnics in the New York area. And Mary Ann continued to work as a stenographer, and they got married on June 10th, 1914, and at St. Jean-Baptiste Church. They lived in Manhattan and then the Bronx, and then my grandfather, who was working for a construction company, bought the land in Yonkers and built the house at 27 Amacassin Terrace. And that house stayed in the family from 1922 to 2008. And Marianne and Peter had 5 children. My mother, Mary Jo Madden, is the eldest. Thank you.